when does that first running back come off the board? And so I've got Dallas Cowboys at 56 taking Jonathan Brooks, Texas running back. If Brooks makes it to 56, I just have a hard time seeing Dallas pass on him. Whoever they draft is going to play an immediate role in some way, shape, or form. With Brooks, he was viewed by many as running back one before the ACL injury. Cowboys have never been shy about taking risks on injury or character guys in that second round. They never will be shy about doing it. You factor in Brooks' talent, the Cowboys connections, just the need at the position, and it just makes a ton of sense.
The Dallas Cowboys have had one of the most interesting off seasons thus far, but to be quite honest, a lot of people have been absolutely hating on what the Dallas Cowboys have done.
Jerry Jones, my buddy, has done a horrible job this offseason.
My buddy.
Horrible. My buddy. My Libra buddy. Horrible. Dereliction of duty. I don't know. All I know is that they go out to drink and they have lunch and they have dinner. I don't know anything else that the front office for the Dallas Cowboys have done.
I mean, you look at the people they brought in, there's only 3 of them. Eric Kendricks, who looks like he will be a day one starter with Leighton Vander Esch now being gone. You also add a running back in Royce Freeman and also add a former undrafted guy in Snoop Connor as well, leaving your running back room at a very interesting spot. Rico Dowdle, Deuce Vaughn, Royce Freeman, Malik Davis, right? Obviously, there's nobody in that room that I think could day one be a big-time player for them. I think they all play a specific type of role. And then you talk about, Dak Prescott's contract situation, CeeDee Lamb's situation. There's a lot that needs to be done here for the Cowboys, but the draft is where they tend to always get a lot better. I mean, you look at their former draft picks in Trevon Diggs, CeeDee Lamb, right? You talk about Dak Prescott. You talk about the Zach Martins, the Micah Parsons, the Mozzie Smiths, the DeMarcus Lawrences. This team really knows how to draft, which is why I am 100% focused on the draft for the Dallas Cowboys. In this video, we're going to break down a couple of guys that the Dallas Cowboys should be locking their sights on in this year's NFL draft, but more importantly, how they can come out of the draft a better football team and maybe even get them over the hump for next season. Before we jump into the video though, do me a big favor, hit the like button just so we can get this video out to more Cowboys fans around the world, but also subscribe if you're new. It is free, doesn't cost anything to join the family, and we will be covering the Cowboys throughout the entirety of the offseason, draft, minicamp, training camp, preseason, regular season, everything you guys can think of, we've got you guys covered. And with that being said, comment down below a couple of guys you think they should draft. Let's dive right into the video. Now, when we actually break down where the Dallas offense and even defense ranked last season, there aren't too many situations or spots that they really need to improve on. Obviously, they were the best offense in the entirety of the NFL. They were number 4 in terms of yards per game, number 4 in touchdowns per game, number 2 in third down conversion percentage. But then when it came down to their running game, things weren't as productive as they could have been. Ranking number 17 in yards per rush, number 15 in rush yards per game, and 15 in rushing touchdowns per game as well. They thought Tony Pollard was going to be a massive running back for them for the foreseeable future, but he started, and now he is over in Tennessee to play with the Titans. So obviously this running game needed to improve at least a little bit. Then when you look at the passing game, they were insanely good, and Dak Prescott was a really good player. Number 1 in completion percentage, number 1 in pass yards per game, number 8 in interception percentage, and number 9 in QB sack percentage. I thought this team was really, really productive when they were on the field, but the running game needed to improve the most. Now, as we all know, this draft class for running backs isn't the best in the world, but at number 56, I think the Cowboys could find a stud running back here in Jonathan Brooks out of Texas. This man was, behind Bijan Robinson a bunch, but has showcased himself a lot throughout this season. And the main thing to know about Jonathan Brooks is he should be full of energy. The man only has 238 collegiate carries to his name, but it's what he's done with those that makes him such a special player. And as you can tell right away, he has so much potential as an outside runner, as NFL caliber, statistics, NFL caliber traits. his wiggle in and out of the defense is insane, and we've already seen a lot of people compare him to a guy like Jamal Charles. And if you guys remember Jamal Charles, you know how good of a player he is, and just imagine that type of player with the Dak Prescott, with the Jake Ferguson, with a guy like CeeDee Lamb and Brandin Cooks. I mean, he could right away come in here and be amazing. He also has worked as a pass catcher as well on screen passes. I think in this category as well, he could fit in like a puzzle piece in Dallas, who just needs to get their guys the football and watch them work right away, gets up the right sideline and makes things happen. Whenever this guy has the football in his hands, he is always a threat to make big plays happen no matter what, right? He's got slick feet, which allow him to make light work, of stacking cuts, and moves up like really well. So you look at all of his traits, you look at all of his skill set. We can run in and out of, lanes with his bend, his quickness. He usually avoids unnecessary moves if he doesn't have to make them, which, ultimately sustains his energy as well. I think Jonathan Brooks could step in right away and be someone who can be a day one big time player for them. Let me back this up, show you one more play here before we move on to another position that they could absolutely steal in this year's draft. But again, hand him the football, a little bit of a read option type of play here, and just burst the speed up the middle. Great O-line blocking, but that's something they have here in Dallas as well. Good O-lineman, now just one man to beat, uses his speed, athleticism, right? Man, I really do think Jonathan Brooks can give it everything he's got here in Dallas. And I think right away, you draft him, look at his tackling, break tackle ability here. Just going through guys. I mean, dude, they cannot bring this guy down. I know it's Wyoming, but dude, Jonathan Brooks is a fierce competitor and someone you want on your football team, not only as a runner, but someone with good hands and great post-catch wiggle to add just value and, playmaking ability after he gets the ball. When you look at a ton of mock drafts, everyone has them taking Jonathan Brooks because of the fit. He was in Texas already, and his doctor, the guy who did his surgery, was literally the Cowboys, team surgeon as well. Unbelievable, the connection between him and the Dallas Cowboys. I don't think it could be any more perfect. But when you break down a bunch of mock drafts, they all have one thing pretty similar, right? They're going offensive line in the first round, and I think that is something they need to do. Shore up the protection for Dak Prescott, but at the same time, allow Jonathan Brooks to be more of a playmaker in the backfield, give him some more space. And if you bring a guy like Amarius Mims at that number one pick, we'll break down him in a second, that could be really good. But they could also go in a different direction, right? Oklahoma off the tackle, Tyler Guyton, he could be a good pickup here. You go down here to Chad Reuter. He has them taking Brian Thomas Jr. at number 24. Guys, this dude is electric. If they get him, they might have the best wide receiver core in the NFL in year one, right? Of him being a rookie. I think center is a big position as well. They have Zach Frazier of Virginia. I think he could be really good. If you want a big body guy who could do a lot of things, he could be big. And then this is one of the most intriguing to me. If it was me drafting, this would be my selection. Jackson Powers Johnson at number 1 with their first round pick, and then Jonathan Brooks in the second round. I think that makes the most sense to me. In my opinion, Jackson Powers Johnson is someone who has the ability to be one of the top centers in the NFL over the next couple of years with development. I think he will be a really good player. Even NFL.com says he will eventually be a plus starter at the NFL level. You look at all of his skill sets here. I mean, carries broad chest, thick hips, and meaty hands. I mean, hey, screw it. Love to see that right away. And then you have, heavy hands, hammers the A-gap threats from protecting the quarterback. Someone who can really shore up that interior O-line. I think he can play guard. He can play center, but obviously brings in a fierce competitor with, some of the best hands and technique in college football last season. Doesn't have the best athleticism, but he doesn't need to have that athleticism. When you look at his film, the man in pass protection was insane. He's got a wide base, good discipline to keep his weight back. His rookie season could be, off and on, but at the end of the day, his potential is what makes him such a great prospect in this year's NFL draft. Jolts defenders around with powerful upper body. The strength really jumps off the tape when you watch him play. Insane power, insane strength, someone you want on your team, and plays with adequate footwork for double teams on and workup blocks. I think this could be the absolute perfect fit in the first round. And then you get a guy like Jonathan Brooks. Not only do you improve your passing game, but you improve your running game as well. That is, killing two birds right away in this year's NFL draft, and I think that could be a perfect start. At the end of the day, the Dallas Cowboys still have one of the most dominant rosters in the NFL. They're only getting healthier. They added a day one starting linebacker in Eric Kendricks. This team is still very, very good. And in free agency, they didn't need to do much. But when it comes to the NFL draft, that's where they can become a better football team. I think adding a running back, some offensive linemen, maybe even a wide receiver at some point in time as well, will really turn this team over the edge or put them over the hump for next season. We have Trevon Diggs getting back healthy. I think Damone Clark, Demarion Overshawn could take a big jump up next season. I like Marquise Bell. I mean, this entire roster looks really good on paper. So people look at what they did in free agency and say they did nothing. They're complaining, right? They don't need to do much. This team is already really, really good. But let me know what you guys think. Hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, join the family. I think the Dallas Cowboys could have an unbelievable NFL draft if they do the right things. Again, running back, center, tackle, wide receiver. If they go heavy on offense, you could see them be really, really good next season once again and maybe even get over that hump. Hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, join the family, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.